Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I have a great recipe for you. We are making pumpkin cornbread. All right, if you're new here, hi, I'm Claire. Welcome, come in, make yourselves comfortable. It is the fall time. Although I cook with pumpkin year round, I especially cook with it this time of year. Today it is raining outside. It is cold and blustery and I'm just looking for something delicious and comforting, and fall food is comfort food, right? So this time of year, I know a lot of people are cooking tons of soups, lots of chili. We're using the slow cooker. We are making savory comfort dishes, and I thought I would share with you this amazing recipe for pumpkin cornbread. It is the perfect side whether you are in charge of bringing the rolls or the bread or whatever to Thanksgiving dinner. This is a great sort of take on that. Or if you are sitting down to a cup of chili and you want a great side, this will definitely do the trick. Today I'm making them in a pan, but you could also do muffins, would be delicious, or you could make them in a cast iron skillet in your oven. That would also make an impact if you're bringing this to some sort of event. And with that, let's get right into this delicious pumpkin cornbread recipe. All right, for this recipe, you are going to need sour cream, brown sugar, all-purpose flour, some salt, baking soda and baking powder. I've got some yellow cornmeal here, just from Quaker. I also have pumpkin pie spice, a can of pumpkin puree. I also have some butter. This recipe also calls for eggs. Now, if you know me, if you follow me, you know that I raise quail. So I'm using quail eggs for this recipe. You are going to need 2 chicken eggs, so that's gonna be 8 quail eggs. I know, like, don't use quail eggs, that's kind of ridiculous, but I have them, so I'm going to use them. But if you're gonna use chicken eggs, you need 2 chicken eggs. And I will leave all this down below as well. All right, the first thing we're gonna do is whisk together all of our dry ingredients. We have 1 cup of all-purpose flour. To that, we're going to add 1 cup of cornmeal, 1 teaspoon of baking powder, half a teaspoon of baking soda. Oh my gosh. I need to buy some baking soda. I've barely got half a teaspoon in here. But there we go, it'll be fine. Also, half a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm going to add 3 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice. I've seen this recipe done where they sort of do like nutmeg and then cinnamon and, you know, all the different bits that are in pumpkin pie spice. But I find that just getting it already mixed like this works perfectly. And then I don't have to measure a ton of different things. And I find that the ratio of cinnamon to nutmeg to cloves is perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and mix this all together. I'm gonna create a well in the center, and then I'm gonna set this aside. Next, I have 1/4 cup of butter. This is salted butter because that's all I use. So even if a recipe calls for unsalted butter, I always use salted, and I'm gonna melt this. All right, now I've got my brown sugar, and we need half a cup of this packed. And to that, we are going to add our melted butter. And we're also going to whip in our pumpkin puree here. Now this is pumpkin puree, it is not pumpkin pie filling, so make sure you make that distinction when you're at the grocery store. We're going to need 1 cup of this pumpkin. Give that a little whisk. Next, I'm going to add my eggs to this mixture. Like I said before, you need 2 chicken eggs. But guys, I'm not gonna buy chicken eggs if I have these beautiful quail eggs, so of course I'm going to use what I have. I'm all about saving money when you can, so using items I already have in my house is definitely going to be the best deal. So this comes out to about 8 quail eggs. And honestly, cooking with quail eggs is so fun. It just is a little bit more work because obviously you gotta have these little scissors to open them, and it takes like a ton of them to make anything. I made a quiche the other day and it took like 30 eggs. But I will say they are delicious, and if you have the chance to give quail eggs a try, I definitely think you should. Now I'm going to add a half a cup of sour cream. I find that generally if I'm making any type of cornbread, Sour cream is an absolute must. Even if I'm using just like a Jiffy mix, adding sour cream makes the texture so much like smoother and I don't know, almost more cake-like. So I'm definitely here for sour cream. Now I'm going to just give this a little whisk. Break up my eggs. Now we are going to put our mixture into the well. Now I'm going to slowly combine this just until there's no streaks in it. You don't want to overmix it. We don't want like a ton of gluten to develop here. We don't want these to be chewy. We want them to be more like a cake. All right, now it's time to bake. I'm using an 8x8 pan. You could use a 9x13, but they're going to be much thinner and you will have to adjust the cooking time based on, you know, the shape you're using, but today I'm using an 8x8. Just try to get it nice and even in there, as even as you can. All right, that looks about as even as we're going to get it, and now it's time to pop it in the oven. All right, so my oven is preheated to 375. This is gonna take 25 minutes to 30 minutes. So we'll start with 25 and then we'll check on it. All right, my timer has just gone off. So I'm gonna give it a little test here. Ooh, it smells so good. It's got the little crack on the top of it. Throw a fork in there. We're good to go. There we go. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I just want to eat it with a fork right out of the pan. All right, we are ready to cut into this bad boy. It's still just a little bit warm, but I can comfortably handle it. I like to wait with all cornbread just a little bit because it can get really crumbly to make it cool down just like most of the way before we cut into it so we can get nice like square bricks. I don't know. It doesn't really matter that much, but that's what I'm doing. I am making my squares a little on the larger side. Oh my goodness. Look at how perfect that is. Oh my gosh. All right, when it comes to serving this delicious cornbread, you can leave it as is, or how I would normally eat cornbread with a bit of butter. For sure, that would be amazing. But I also think that this time of year, you can find maple butter, apple butter, pumpkin butter, all sorts of really delicious sort of variations on that I also think would be good. I think drizzling maple syrup on it would be really good, but you guys, if you watch my pumpkin taste test video, you know how I feel about the Land O'Lakes. And I found this cinnamon sugar Land O'Lakes butter. And I was like, these go together. So that's how I'm going to be serving mine. I haven't tried it yet. My husband has seen it in the fridge for the last few days. I keep telling him he's not allowed to try it until I made this bread, so I'm excited. And of course, time for the taste test. Oh my gosh. It's so good. This is such an interesting and delicious combination of texture and flavor. It's got that cornbread texture with a bit of that sort of, I don't want to say grit, but you know what I mean. It's got more texture than like flour, obviously. But with that pumpkin in there and with the sour cream, it's like a corn cake. Like it definitely has that corn like texture, but it's not crumbly or dry. It is moist like a cake. I really did know that that pumpkin was gonna make it super moist because honestly, adding a can of pumpkin into like a box cake mix, that actually works really well if you've ever tried that. So I knew that's what was gonna happen, but like I did not anticipate it being so amazingly delicious. Like I take a bite of this and my brain cannot decipher whether this is cornbread or a cake. Like, is this dessert or is it a side dish? Or both. And while it does have that soft texture of a great cake. It's not super sweet though. It's not sweet like a cake. It has just enough sweetness. Obviously we have that brown sugar in there, but I think it's all gonna depend on what you put on top, which way this is gonna go. This butter is just sweet enough to make it, you know, still side dishy, but not quite dessert. But if you went with like maple syrup or something, then this would be desserty. I don't know, this is amazing. All right, you guys, that was my pumpkin cornbread. I hope you enjoyed this recipe. Definitely a texture and a flavor all its own. It's definitely borrowed from cornbread and from like pumpkin pie melded together. So if you're interested in that, definitely give this a try and let me know what you think. Of course, come on back for more of this type of content, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!